Carrera Cup Australia regular. He's stepping behind the wheel for this weekend as well. Now, we also should point out the fact that Harrison Goodman had an outstanding start in race 2 earlier today. He sent it right around the outside, and when I spoke to him briefly before, he mentioned that everyone else was on the inside line, so I thought I'd try it on the outside, and sure enough, it stuck, and he showed plenty of pace to literally drive around the outside of his rival. So we'll keep an eye on that Bob Jane T. Martin's Porsche. Revs rising. They're about to get underway for the final time in 2022, and it's a great start from Tom Sargent. He might have the whole shot as they go screaming down into turn 1, but that's Shields tagging on the back there as well. But Ryan Wood's back up the inside through the fast sweeping right-hander. Courtney Prince dropping back into position 4. Harrison Goodman, her teammate, just behind in position 5. He sticks it up the inside this time around, but we have the 2 title protagonists at the head of the field. Wood from Sargent. Sargent placed exactly where he wants to be to take out the title.
Absolutely. Had a very, very good jump off the start line, Tom Sargent, but then just thought a little bit more sensibly about it, pulled out of it, went back into second place. A couple of cars off the road at Southern Loop. Just didn't quite catch who those cars were, but very smart play early on from Sargent. Didn't need to do anything silly. Didn't need to hang around the outside of Wood going into turn 1. Thought better of it, pulled back into second, and then just stayed put. This is all he's got to do. Oh, it's Sam Shaheen. And who we got there? Is that the number Flack? 20 machine of Flack as well. So off on the exit of turn 4, and that's a very awkward spot to lose. They've come a long way. They must have come off the curb and gone spearing across to driver's right. That's a very unusual spot to be, and I'm looking to see, I don't think Flack's quite got going yet.
Here they go. A locked break there from Tom Sargent. He's still pressing ahead. We've got a replay coming up of that incident down at turn 4 involving Sam Shaheen and Adrian Flack. So here they come on exit out of Honda. They're side by side with Shaheen on the inside, and it looks like they might have tagged wheels, and it sent them both spearing onto the right-hand side.
Doesn't look like they've got the tyre barrier, though. That's the important piece.
It doesn't look too bad, but it is incredibly soft and sodden on the green stuff, the grass on the inside of the field as they come screaming down the main straight for the second time. Wood still holding on. He's grown the gap out to about half a second in front of Tom Sargent driving the Tegra Australia number 47 Porsche, and Shields still holding down to third position. Mind you, he's coming under fire from Courtney Prince, who's all over the back, having a look at all corners, all areas of turn 2 down at the Southern Loop, but she can't find a way around at this time, but she's positioned perfectly as they come screaming through turn 3. It's a fantastic left-hander sweeper, deep under brakes into turn 4, which is the slowest corner on the track, but there are local yellows in that area, so the drivers will need to be mindful of their car placement through there and perhaps think better of a potential move this time around. But Flack still on the right-hand side there, stuck on the grass. Wood doing a fantastic job. Of course, his season 2023 is locked in. He will be in competition in the Painter-Dixon Carrera Cup Australia Series. The man behind him, Tom Sargent, is headed for the United States of America, where he will take part in the Carrera Cup North America Championship with McElrea Racing. So Tom Sargent going over to the US, and we expect bigger and massive things for him in his very bright-looking motorsport future. But look at this. This is a highly energised battle for the lead, Stephen. It's incredibly close. It looks like we've got 6 cars vying for the battle of this. Lockie Bloxham as well,
he's in there.
Position as well. So he's on the recovery drive after coming together at race 1 earlier today.
Yeah, he's stormed back through the field in race 2 for a very, very brief portion that it was actually under green flag condition. He's now very firmly entrenched in 5th position behind Courtney Prince and Shields, who still continue to fight over the 3rd place position heading towards turn number 1. Tyres are up to temperature, up to pressure, and Prince has got a full head of steam latched onto the back of the number 116 machine of Shields. Bloxham just still holding off the advance to Harrison Goodman, and then John Miller in the 59 as well. So top 7 in the shot there, just starting to string out a little bit now at the commencement of lap 3. I guess Ryan Wood's kind of hoping if you back the pack up a little bit, maybe there might have been an opportunity for Shields or Prince to sneak down the inside of Tom Sargent and take some of those valuable points away from him and hopefully help him in the championship cause. But right now, it's not going to plan.
You can see the heat haze and just how warm it is out there at the moment. I say it's only about 27 degrees, but for us Melburnians, that's quite a warm temperature given the recent weather. And so far this year, there's been 2 races cancelled or red flagged due to terrible weather for the Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge so far this year. So yeah, just a smidge under 27 degrees and 60% humidity as well at the moment. So it's baking hot out there at the moment. Here is Jason Miller. He's all over the back of Harrison Goodman. He will be looking for a way through, but there's Lockie Bloxham, just a bit of a brake lock up as they come into turn 10. But keeping it nice and clean as they come around the long, it's seemingly never-ending left-hander coming onto the main straight. As I say that, it looks like the 2 leaders as well are starting to break away from Aaron Shields in position 3, and there is a bit of a gap emerging there, as I said. So Ryan Wood still doing a spectacular job. He is the fastest man on the track. He's done a 1 minute 33.6. The gap, half a second between himself, Tom Sargent, but the title is still going away with Tom Sargent.
At the moment it is too, and they were pretty much trading sectors throughout that lap as well. Purple first sector to Tom Sargent, sectors 2 and 3 going in favour of Wood, and the margin at the checkered flag, as you said, half a second, but in the lap time it's only about 7/100ths of a second. So Wood very much being matched by Tom Sargent at the moment, doing everything he needs to do to keep his title hopes alive. And now climbing all over the back of Wood's number 40 is Tom Sargent. Got a little bit of a headwind and have got a good run out of turn 2, and just applying the blowtorch, just keeping up the pressure, keeping Wood under the gun, keeping him in the gun sights, trying to force him to make a mistake, forcing him to go faster. He doesn't want to be caught. He's quite happy to sit there, but by the same token, Sargent wants a race win.
By his own admission, he would love to win the races, but he knows exactly where he needs to be and what he needs to do. So he's more than happy to look at the back of that Porsche ahead of him. But as you say, what he doesn't want to do is fall into the clutches of the ensuing cars, of which there are several. You've got Shields, you've got Courtney Prince, and you've also got Lockie Bloxham. They are waiting in the wings, ready to pounce at any opportunity. And this is a highly energised battle at the head of the field. Now, Ryan Wood is getting a spectacular exit coming out of turn 10 and rounding turns 11 and 12. He's getting the power down beautifully as they come onto the main straight once again. It's certainly coming down to the wire, and the Porsche Michelin Sprint Cup Challenge.
Shields might have a look here. Shields might have a little bit of a look here at Tom Sargent, who goes defensive on the run to turn 1. So now the tactics from Wood are starting to work a little bit, and Ryan Wood's actually being shown a bad sportsmanship flag. I'm not quite sure what that's for there.
Yeah, we'll get more information as that comes to hand, but Shields is still coming under fire from Courtney Prince. She's been showing in position 3 for most of the weekend. She carried the Michelin onboard camera earlier in race 2. She got the best box seat view of the battle between Sargent and Wood before it was unfortunately red flagged due to that incident at turn 10. And full credit to the organisers here this weekend and the race officials for repairing the tyre wall and getting the race circuit nice and safe for racing to resume. But this battle rages on. Sargent pressing ahead, doing a fantastic job, but he's certainly in the box seat at the moment and keeping it nice and controlled. Brett Bolton, he's currently in position 11. All he needs to do is sail across the start-finish line to finish this race and make it nice and clean, and he will take out the Morris Pro-Am. So that's Fillmore on screen there in the number 27
that's
Alliance
turn
Services Porsche. He's rotated it, as you say, at turn 4, but he's out of the way from the following cars, and he will get that turned around, hopefully with a nice quick little flick spin, and he is indeed back underway. So that's a great effort to keep the racing going for this finale. This is an absolute grandstand finish, isn't it, Stephen?
It is a grandstand finish. Now, given that Ryan Wood's been shown the black flag here for bad sportsmanship, I dare say they've been on the radio to him through the Elbamba prepared pit crew, and they just told him, look, just get on with the job. There's nothing more you can do about it. There's no point trying to back the pack up and try to get Sargent under fire from Shields and Prince and Co. Just get on with it and do the best you can. So he's trying to check out, string out the leading group of 5 cars, which is precisely what he is doing. We're going to the Pro-Am battle a bit further down the order here. So this is what you were talking about with the likes of Sam Shaheen and Brett Bolton. And we've got a car off as well on the
Goodman.
outside, which is that Bolton? It is.
That's Goodman.
No, Goodman. Sorry, Goodman.
So Goodman going off at the Southern Loop, where he spectacularly went around the outside in race 2. So he's had a bit of a mishap there. Hails from Queensland, an aviation student, spending a lot of his time away from his studies and behind the wheel of a Porsche. So here we have the Pro-Am leaders on screen at the moment. Now it looks like it's Daniel Studdard in the lead in the number 29 Porsche, and he's just ahead of Stack Ben Stack from Victoria in the number 74 car, and Brett Bolton just behind him. Now, Jacob Lee is also on the back of this battle as well. He's in Class B. That car has got a small power deficit to the 991 Generation 2 cars just ahead of him, about 200 cc's in engine capacity, but is a very handy steerer around the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit and the Mount Panorama circuit, as we've seen in recent weekends as well. And here is Greg as well, locked in a fantastic battle against Carr.
Yeah, you look at talking about Jacob Lee himself and the likes of Travis Knipe, who have spent plenty of time in the Victorian State Race Series sports cars in the Porsche mark as well. They've done many laps around here, so they know the place inside out. So getting into the Porsches and coming out here to Phillip Island, it's nothing that they've done that they haven't done before. They've had plenty of experience. They'll enjoy every minute of it. And for Jacob Lee, he's having a great weekend, mixing it up in sort of like the top 10 spots. Well, actually, at the moment, just outside the top 10 in 11th place in a Class B car, as you said, with the power deficit, but showing that it pretty much means nothing if you've got confidence at a place like this.
Yeah, look, the straight line handling, not quite as good as the corner handling for Jacob Lee, but he's doing a brilliant job on screen there. And that car with the wrap, the orange and Dayglow yellow or green, it's a bit hard to tell from this point of view, but that car beautifully stickered this weekend. Back to the battle for position 3. So Aaron Shields just ahead of Courtney Prince in the local Legends Porsche, with Lockie Bloxham just behind as well. That car has been quickly repaired and turned around from this morning's mishap. But this battle for position 3 rages on. Well, Sargent has opened up the gap by about 1.5 seconds between him and Shields. So that's a handy little gap to establish at this point of the race.
Now, importantly, they've also withdrawn the yellow flags that were out for a couple of laps at turn 4 for the Adrian Flack machine that was stranded on the inside at driver's right at turn 4 and 5. So that means that the passing opportunity at turn 4 has returned. So any potential moves that could be sized up, you won't have to worry about pulling out of the move in time to slot back into the queue and then therefore break any of the rules. You'll be able to get that pass done, because it's a bit sad when some of those mooted passing zones, the hard braking zones, is where the passes mostly happen here. Turn 1, turn 4, turn 10, they're the primary zones that everybody looks at.
Absolutely. So, of course, this is where these young up-and-coming stars get their start in the Porsche International racing ladder, I guess you would want to call it. So as part of the Porsche pyramid, this is where they get their start in the Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge. A lot of drivers then move on to the Painter Dixon Carrera Cup Australia Championship if they decide to step up into that field, and from there, if they are the victor or the winner of that series, as we saw with Harry Jones, they then take part in the Porsche Junior Shootout, which he is currently doing over at the Circuit Jerez in Spain. And he's also had a test session with Lechner Racing in the BWT stickered Porsche over at Bahrain Circuit in preparation for that as well. So massive things for him to come his way in his fledgling race career. And then that might lead into a shot at the Mobil 1 Super Cup, which of course supports the Formula 1 Grand Prix racing weekends. And then from there, it's on to the things like the Le Mans 24-hour, or massive events, I should say, like the Le Mans 24-hour, Liquid Moly Bathurst 12-hour, and those sorts of events.
Yep. So we've got the leaders in Pro-Am on screen. So you've got the 29 machine here of Studdert. So he's leading this group of cars. Third car in the queue there with the red stripe across the windshield is, of course, your champion-elect in Morris Pro-Am, in Brett Bolton, in 10th place, doing a stellar job, having a fantastic weekend, a clean weekend. His nearest rival, Sam Shaheen, has unfortunately come to grief on a couple of occasions this weekend. And here's Goodman trying to make his way back through the field. Decisive pass down the inside at MG on Grigg. Carr now actually takes the opportunity opened up for him by Goodman to get past Grigg as well.
Stood it onto the main straight. You can see the rear bumper bar on that car is grey. Hasn't been re-stickered after they did a very quick job getting that car repaired. So just some cosmetic damage on the back of the car. So this is the lead battle for outright. You can see a visual gap between P1 with Ryan Wood at the head of the field and to P2 with Tom Sargent in second. So the gap is almost 2 seconds. Wood versus Sargent with another 1.8 seconds, 7/10 of a second back to Aaron Shields, I stand to be corrected, who's sitting back in position 3. So Shields driving a brilliant defensive drive to fend off Courtney Prince, herself doing a spectacular job defending from Lockie Bloxham. And this season as well, it's been great to see two females in Courtney Prince and Madeline Stewart finish inside the top 3 in Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge in season 2022.
Yeah, great to see female representation in motorsport. It's also been good to see a number of drivers this year, especially in grassroots motorsport, Formula V and a number of others come through, and it's good to see that just, anybody can do it, and good to see that at Courtney Prince herself has come through the likes of Formula Ford and moved up the order as well, now into Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge. And coming up to speed, and I think it took a little while for both herself and Madeline Stewart to get up to speed, but good to see that they're actually fighting at the front of the field and actually getting some really good results. Here's actually Sam Shaheen buried a bit further down the field in the mid-pack. It's not gone according to plan for him this weekend in his battle in Morris Pro-Am, and also sporting a little bit of damage from that earlier contact with Adrian Flack at turn number 4. Doing his best to recover here, coming down through MG. And no way through on this particular occasion on Cowan, but Sam Shaheen's actually recovered up to 23rd place after being right down the back of the order following the incident.
Yeah, Richard Cowan himself storming back through the field into the position 22 overall at the moment. But you can see how close Sam Shaheen in the Ben Motorsport Park backed car coming onto the main straight, but he's had a little bit of a messy day, unfortunately, probably by his own standards, but very much in the battle for, or was up until the start of race 2 in the battle, the thick of the battle for Morris Pro-Am. And here is Courtney Prince defending from Bloxham, so he's having a look around the outside as they come through Siberia, approaching Hayshed. Courtney will have the inside line, but then Lockie on the other side of it will have the inside line, and he does take that position away. So that's a great move there from the number 23 entry of Bloxham. So that relegates Courtney Prince back into position 5. This is the battle for P4.
That took about 3 or 4 corners to consolidate that pass. Bloxham was down the inside at turn 4 and then had to fight tooth and nail to keep it through Siberia and make sure he had the space. And then very smartly, Prince decided to back out of it, wanted none of it going side by side up through a very fast section of the circuit, up through turns 7 and 8. But still 1 lap to go now. So the race leader has got a very healthy margin, around 2.5 seconds for Ryan Wood. He's doing everything that he needed to do to try and keep his title hopes alive. It just hasn't fallen the way that he wants it for him. And for Tom Sargent, at one stage he was falling back into the clutches of Shields. But it looks like that gap has stabilised now. And this is the battle of most interest over 4th and 5th, Bloxham versus Prince. And then it looks like Studdard may have just moved ahead into position number 7, the leader in class for Morris Pro-Am, ahead of Madeline Stewart just on that last tour as well.
Yeah, she drops back to position 8 overall, but she's had a fantastic weekend, keeping it nice and clean in the All-Band. But Motorsport prepared. Porsche, this is still raging on though. Bloxham doing a great job defending from Courtney Prince. She's had heaps of pace throughout season 2022 and has been right up inside the top 5 all season long. She's showing the nose as they come through the sweeping left-hander at Siberia. And they've got Shields just ahead of them, albeit maybe slightly out of touch. But it's this man, Ryan Wood, originally from New Zealand, Team Porsche New Zealand entry, the number 40 car. Despite the bad sportsmanship flag, he remains at the head of the field. He's done exactly what he needed to do in this third and final race, capping off the 2022 season for the Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge. He's got just 1 corner left, and he's expected to go across the start-finish line with a 2.3 second gap between himself and Tom Sargent. But Sargent has done exactly what he needed to do all weekend, kept it nice and clean and placed it exactly where he needs to be. Ryan Wood's across the line there, deserving winner, but it's Tom Sargent across the line to provisionally take out the title for 2022 in Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge racing.
It was talked up all weekend long. It was a great battle earlier on in the day between Sargent and Wood. And unfortunately for Sargent, he didn't get the Chocky Bickies at all this weekend with the race wins, but he does provisionally take home the Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge title by virtue of just doing enough points and enough racing to secure himself enough margin at the head of the field. So great to see there. Shields home for 3rd ahead of Bloxham and Prince. And then we look a bit further down the field to see your Class B winner Jacob Lee in 11th place. And then in Pro-Am, for Morris Pro-Am, the leader there, Studdard, finished in 7th place. So that's a great drive to take a final race win in Morris Pro-Am for the season. But here's the camaraderie between the top 2 combatants just pulling alongside each other. Congratulations to Tom Sargent for the championship, and also congratulations to Ryan Wood for, I guess, dominating the weekend to a degree. Pole position and the 2 race wins. Would have been, I guess, probably potentially 3 race wins if not for the unfortunate red flag earlier this afternoon. But provisionally, there is your champion.
Great effort from Tom Sargent. And on screen here is Jacob Lee. He takes out Class be for the race and probably the weekend provisionally. So that's a great effort from Jacob Lee, showing plenty of pace in the last two events of season 2022. We should point out that with Brett Bolton home in position 9 in that race, that was second in Morris Pro-Am class. It looks like provisionally he's taken out the Morris Pro-Am title as well. So that's a great effort from Brett Bolton. Further down, it looks like Lachlan Harburg as well, his home nice and safely as well, so he will take out Class B provisionally. So here is Daniel Studdard. Of course, he was the Pro-Am winner in this third and final race this afternoon, but that is capping off what has been an outstanding season of racing, incredibly close competition, as always is the case in Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge racing in Australia. And it's a big thank you also to the PIARC, the Phillip Island Auto Racing Club, for accommodating Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenge this weekend after their round earlier this year was unfortunately cancelled. But what better conditions would you rather? Where would you rather be this weekend, Stephen, than here, right here at Phillip Island, witnessing what has been an absolutely spectacular title showdown?